Don't quote me on it. I might play it and be completely turned off, but who knows? But yeah, okay. So let's really get into this is some of the craziest news I've heard in a while. Like, people talk about console wars, like PlayStation 4 versus Xbox One and like all that stuff. But this is like Kurt Schilling bankrupting Rhode Island big news.
Yeah.
This is huge. So, the guys who did the whatever, Star Citizen's the game.
Star Citizen's the game, and it's done by Cloud Imperium Games, and it's Chris Roberts, and I guess he also has his company Robert Space Industries, which I think is the parent company of the whole thing. So,
largest crowd-funded video game, actually, largest crowd-funded period.
Yeah.
Thing to ever happen on the internet at $92 million, and they started off at 500, and they started off at 500,000, and they said, and they leaped to $92 million.
And my whole time I subscribed to this. I actually wanted to get into this game. To me, I thought this was going to be awesome. It was going to really push gaming. I just built a new PC last year, so I was like, oh man, I really got to build this thing pretty beefy because Star Citizen is coming out, and I want to be able to 32 gigs of RAM, the whole works. Getting into the higher end new NVIDIA cards that were coming out and stuff like that.
Sure.
But that game and man, it's just this information is just disappointing because from what I understand is this not only has it been $90 million, but to put this in perspective, it's like give me like $60 million in 3 years, and if I have the right team, I'll put out a AAA title. I mean, I'm not saying I can put out AAA games, but that's usually what it takes to put out a title. And this guy has gone way over that. And from what I heard too, he's gone through some major players that he hired for the company. That was kind of like a red flag that was coming up. Was these high-end game makers from these other companies were being pulled in and then leaving shortly thereafter.
So I don't know where you read it from. I read from Escapist magazine. Is that the article you read?
I started there, and then I moved over to what's his name? Derek Smart is his name, or what's that guy?
I don't know.
I have it written down somewhere. I was just like, man, this is so good. Yeah, Derek Smart. That's it. Yeah, my memory serves me right. And he was just, I guess he started out he was just like us, like, hey man, this game looks cool. But he bought in $250 into the game, which I mean, dude, I've given like $25, maybe $40 for a game I really like that's in development.
There are people who bought in upwards of $10,000 into the game.
Yeah. That's the crazy
some
stuff.
Even higher. There's some at $50,000 with promises of like facial features in the game and voice acting in the game and names in the game and nothing about that's being talked about. That all is the scary part, is nobody's delivering on any of these things, and it's been up for 2 years, that campaign, right?
Yeah, it was since 2012, and that's the scary thing, man. Is this thing looks like it's just a train wreck ready to happen. I mean, it's coming off the tracks.
Yeah, it's coming off the tracks. And in that article that I read, from, I'm just looking at my sources, Escapist magazine online, they were talking about the toxic work environment, and I think that might have something to do with it. And some of the two employees that spoke in the article about it spoke about how they were dealing with, being just completely brutalized and worked insane hours, missing paychecks, having to deal with racial slurs, ethnic slurs, and even having to talk about like just overall belittling of their human rights. So how do you sit in a work environment with a person who, I mean, some people would come in, they would be there for a week, and then they would leave because of how disgusting that place was. And the two people who were talking about all this, they were there for One of them was there for almost 2 years dealing with it until he became physically ill from the stress and finally just left. He had no job lined up, not much money in his savings, just enough, but he couldn't do it anymore because it was changing his home life with his child and his wife and changing his work environment life and his ethic life. So how do you rebound from, how do you rebound as a company with a statement like that? Which I'm saying, since this guy is gone, I'm sure he's not just trying to be like a Yelp reviewer here. I think he's trying to warn other people about what kind of a destructive company this is, and they're taking all these people's money who have bought in and watching it just go down the tube.
Well, I actually read a little further because that article on some aspects talked about the Derek's blog, Derek Smart's blog, and I guess he was the guy. He also uncovered, and this is kind of all hearsay right now. I guess they're trying to get the FCC, I guess, or the Better Business Bureau involved in this, but I guess it takes some time to do. Yeah. So he kind of actually started doing some questioning, some probing, and got some lawyers. But I guess he also found out that Robert's wife, Sandy Gardner, I guess she's kind of an actress. She's been in a few things. She's been taking company money and working on her own projects. Great. And using, and so they want a full accountability. This guy Derek wants a full accountability. He wants this company to be audited because and they've already refunded his money. He didn't ask for his money back, but they automatically wanted him to kind of be quiet because I guess as he describes it, there's a lot of I guess he says white knights out there for the company. A lot of people that are kind of in denial because this is just landing, and he's been receiving a lot of pushback. Which I think he should be praised because, don't get me wrong, I love Chris Roberts and I really like the Wing Commander series. And I think he's a great game maker, but I don't know if times have changed, man, and he just doesn't know how to make games in the modern market. Because, dude, $92 million? Oh,
that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money, and it's being misused and misfunded. And one of the big things is now, he may be a great game director, producer, developer. He might be one of the best. But I think the same story goes almost in every single notion. And when you look at it in any aspect of it, a great football coach in 1962 tries to come back today and coach a team.
That's what I'm saying. It's a different. He's good,
different
but
element.
He's 1960 good. Yeah, it's like
he's not. Yeah. He's still a great coach, but the game's changed, the rules have changed, the process has changed, and $92 million is at stake, and that's something that we can't. That's something that we can't just push under the rug. This is the largest crowdfunded thing ever, and now they're also saying that they want to make this game a universe-sized open world video game with fully customized ships. And now some of the things that they're saying is you'll have 6 ships to start, and if you pledge a little bit more money, we can get you some more stuff. And they're saying, and that this is something that's just the way they were backpedaling on the size of the game. It went from what they wanted to about 10-15% of what they wanted. So that's also kind of concerning.
Yeah, well, and that's kind of, I didn't see it at the time, but yeah, it was kind of interesting. I kind of noticed that because I learned about this game from a friend, actually, and it was being pumped. At the time, I think it was sometime late 2012, maybe early 2013. And they're promising all this stuff. And the guys from Deliverance, we talked about them last session. They too were in cahoots with this guy. They were trading programming technology back and forth for hair textures and clothing and stuff like that. So there was there's a lot of hype around this and a lot of big people involved. And I wonder if this is actually a good lesson to learn from people in the public who crowdfund things. What maybe some red flags before you start to hand over $10,000 for a virtual whatever.
Yeah. Well, look, I've definitely handed over some ridiculous money for crowdfunding, not $10,000, but I mean, I handed over, I subscribed $100 to the new Shaq Fu game, for crying out loud. I'll be the first one to admit that I've made some mistakes in my life, and that's one of them.
That's $100, but
it's $100, but at the same time, that $100 could have been spent on so many different things, and